B2B sales isn't a skill you can just pick up by attending a workshop. It takes practice, dedication, and time to master. The problem is that the training most salespeople get isn't effective. Over 90% of workshop and seminar content is forgotten within 30 days. However, there is a better way. Unlike other sales training programs, our Momentium system combines traditional teaching techniques, an interactive sales simulator, and video conference coaching. Allowing salespeople to learn and practice new skills is what sets us apart from other training providers. Our training programs have proven to be more effective than any workshop or seminar. We improve sales forces, guaranteed. Each week, your salespeople will complete one training module, which consists of several lessons and simulated sales calls. Each module requires learners to learn new concepts, practice those concepts in simulated sales calls, and confirm their understanding in recap sessions and video conference coaching. First, the Coaching Academy contains short, interactive, and focused lessons that will teach salespeople the skills and techniques they need to be successful. We devote time to core concepts and advanced tools every salesperson needs to know. Every concept is delivered one at a time, ensuring salespeople have a chance to practice concepts before moving on to new ones. After learning a new skill, salespeople must complete a series of 3 lifelike sales calls where they open, develop, and close a deal.
Christy, what do you think is the single biggest development opportunity for your sales force?
Our team members are tech experts who traditionally relied on their tech knowledge to sell. More and more, we are dealing with non-IT people who need a different approach.
Momentium provides learners the opportunity to put techniques into practice immediately. This develops better habits leading to greater sales success. After successfully completing the sales simulation in each module, you'll review the key factors that led to the success in those sales calls. This guided reflection is crucial when it comes to creating long-term mastery. Beyond being the most effective sales training system available today, organizations that use Momentium enjoy several other benefits as well. The online training lets us track and record activity within each module. We use this information to benchmark your team's performance and show you how each of your salespeople are improving.
I would like to introduce our first keynote speaker, Mr. Mazhar Hasnani, who is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Engro Polymer Chemicals Limited. He has been with the Engro Group for over 9 years and has worked in business development, finance roles across multiple companies. Prior to this role, he was General Manager for Corporate Strategy at Engro Corporation Limited. Before Engro, Mr. Mazhar spent 10 years in various finance and advisory roles with Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and Nortel Networks in USA and Canada, and holds a bachelor's degree in economics and accounting, and is also a certified public accountant from Colorado. Experienced strategy and corporate finance professionals with a demonstrated history of working in the developing emerging markets, growth strategy for FMCG and diversified conglomerates with significant board and sponsor shareholder experience. Successful track record of executing capital market and M&A transactions valued over $750 million. That is in US dollars. Trained as US CPA with deep assurance and advisory experience gained at PricewaterhouseCoopers in US, as well as US GAAP with a GAAP and IFRS reporting and FP&A experience gained in the telecom sector in Canada as well. Now that's quite an experience, isn't it? Good afternoon, Mazhar. How are you today?
Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. So good to be here. Thank you so much. You read out my profile, and I'm like, what am I doing at a sales conference? I'm asking myself that question to begin with.
Perhaps you know what? That's a question that audience will be happy to know. What made you come into sales and marketing from your diverse finance background, especially being the CPA?
I think I've always had a deep appreciation for the guys who are on the front lines and doing the work. As a finance business partner, I always felt that there was an underappreciation for what the ground realities many times were that people were facing, and I really felt that I needed to experience that myself. And again, Engro is a great platform which allows you to do multiple types of roles, which it has. So I've done strategy and now commercial roles as well.
Awesome. So without any further ado and delay, I will now leave you with your keynote. Hopefully you do a fantastic job with that. And it will be a valuable information for the audiences as well. So tune in, audience. If you haven't yet, it's time to listen to Mazhar Hasnani. Thank you, sir. I'll catch you back in the panel discussion.
Thank you. So, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be here having this conversation with everybody today. When Afan, reached out and we were talking about this conference, it was something right up my alley, because I felt that, as they say, we are, may you live in interesting times. These are about as interesting as times get. And while we talk about a lot of different, facets of the economy that have been impacted, businesses that have been impacted, and livelihoods that have been impacted, I don't think we really talk enough about the sales function or the sales organization, because while we have, obviously, medical workers, people on the front lines working on saving lives, we also have the sales teams across various organizations in Pakistan who are actively working on making sure products are on the shelf, products are available to the customers, and they do this seamlessly, fighting every day with the pandemic that's out there. So really happy to be part of this conversation, and that's why the topic that I wanted to touch upon was looking at things from a little bit from a consumer angle, and kind of asking ourselves the question that are we agile enough to move with the changing consumer? Now, the one thing that I've learned about consumer over a period of time is that the consumer behavior is always changing. It's ever evolving. It's never stagnant. Pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID, it will continue to change. It will continue to evolve. And the thing about the consumer behavior is that it's very fickle. We've seen many a times where companies launch products that you never think that they're going to take off, and they do spectacularly well. And you have other times where every market research, every home usage test, every aspect of the research on consumer is done with the product, and it's supposed to be a short success, and it just bombs. And it's just that's how consumers are. And this is a global consumer behavior, not just Pakistani consumer behavior. However, in this environment, that consumer is shaken. It's not used to operating in the environment as it's today. It's not used to, looking at, oh, do I need to go outside? How many times do I need to go outside? Oh, you know what? I can't go to 3 different shops and shop for something. I just need to go in quickly, have minimal interaction, keep my social distance, and get out. So the consumer behavior attitudes are changing. And with that, their expectations of companies who are providing them products and services are also changing. So these are very, very, very different times for the consumer, because you have to understand something, that the consumer likes doing things the way that is generally comfortable with. And until and unless there is a big push as to why it should change the way it's doing things, it likes to stick to the norm. Now, interestingly, there are 2 impetuses that present ourselves today that are creating that change. One is our dear friend, smartphone, the digital economy, that's changing things. And the other one is COVID. So let's look at both one by one. So with the advent of the digital economy, you've had companies like in Pakistan, like Daraz, like OLX, like many other companies who've come up and tried to create e-commerce platforms to sell their products and services. And I'm just naming a few that come to mind. And you've seen that journey. That's been an interesting journey. People have really questioned in the start, and they're trying to get comfortable with, okay, you know what, this is the area that maybe we want to look at a little bit more. You have also had brick and mortar companies like Khadi, for example, who is trying to push its sales online as well. Now, how successful have they been? How well that transition had happened? Well, that was depend on a lot of things. What your smartphone penetration is like, what your internet connectivity is like, how transactions are settled, how comfortable consumers are, and the big question for a lot of companies were, well, especially companies who were brick and mortar companies were, well, how much do we invest in this? Right? So if my online sales are 3, 4, 5, 10% maybe of my overall sales, do I really need to make massive infrastructure investments? Do I need to invest in my supply chain? Do I need to do all of these things? What is that I need to do? So that's one impetus that was moving the consumer in that direction. The millennials, the younger generation, were more and more comfortable buying things online. And you see that pattern when you look at e-commerce numbers that are coming up. But traditional consumers when they're in the middle age who have significant spending power were still were kind of there, but not really there in a pre-COVID situation. And then the second impetus happened, where COVID happened. And suddenly everybody is thinking, well, how do I minimize my interaction in a store? What is the minimum number of times can I get out? What are there things that I can buy online that I never thought of buying online? And when you go out and ask people, and this is based on experiences that I've heard from a lot of people, people are making decisions. Consumers are making decisions that they never did of buying things online. Like people are buying, for example, medicine online. They are asking themselves the question, well, I need to go out and get some medicine. Do I need to go and meet with the pharmacist first? Do I need to go to my local medical store? Can I make a list, WhatsApp it to the person, and he can have it delivered, or somebody can go and get it picked up? Now, you see, that's a significant change for the consumer. So there are two ways to look at this. One is companies have to look at it from a perspective of, oh, yeah, this is a big challenge. Yeah, correct. We've got entire value chain set up, infrastructure set up. Now suddenly, oh, what do we do? Others will look at this as an opportunity and say, well, you know what? The impetus that was coming, that was the transformation digital economy. There is suddenly, a big push or a big catalyst called COVID that is now pushing the consumer in that direction. So what we have to realize as we stand here today is change is happening as we stand today. People are going to get more comfortable. Obviously, there'll always be a school of thought. Ye to pandemic jab tak hai, tab tak rahega, and then we'll be on and done with it. People will go back to normal. I don't think so. I don't think that will happen, because people will start going out and shopping again, but people will start going out and shopping for things that are more high involvement, that require more human involvement, things that are more procedural or repetitive in nature. For example, medicines. If I want to get Panadol or Ansed and this and that and the other, I don't need to go to my local pharmacist. I don't need to take my car out or my bike out, go, rush mein khada hu, wahan pe payment karu, ye sab karu. Why do I do that? Right? People are getting comfortable with that. So that is something we have to get comfortable with. Because if this is what the new normal is, yes, maybe 100% people will not move in that direction, but that shift is definitely happening now. We need to ask ourselves the question, what is it that we want to do? Our two options is either we duck and try to, sort of weather this wave out and say, well, let the pandemic happen and see what happens, or we actually ride the wave. And we take the lead as organizations to say, you know what, we are going to adjust our business model and take our consumer in that direction, because that direction is where the world is headed. Now, if you look at what I mean by that is I'm talking about even regional countries like India, like Bangladesh, like other countries where e-commerce penetration is higher and continues to grow. And Pakistan is continuing to growing as well. So might as well take that as an opportunity. Now, if we believe that this change is going to happen, what is it that we need to do with this consumer's behavior, which is now changing at a more rapid pace? So first of all, I think what's very important is we need to listen. A lot of times we don't. I'll tell you, as a sales head, we don't. We make a plan, we go out and we push and we push and we push. Right now, there was a budget that was decided at the beginning of the year. I need to deliver on certain numbers. Let's go out and push. We can't do that. We can't do that. We have to, in some ways, almost take that budget and take that planning and put it on the side and say, you know what, this is the new normal. I need to come up with new ways of doing things. Why? Two reasons. Number one, consumer preferences are changing. So if one of the things that we noticed in our own business, that there is in the shoe business, for example, there's been a fundamental shift between formal wear and casual wear. So jo juti, chappal, sandals, that's what you call it, the consumption of that has really gone up. Formal wear has really come down because people are just not going out that much, right? We need to adjust our plans, our sales plan according to that. We can't be going out and pushing it to the retailer and you buy this, what we are selling. So because we have a certain target. Number two, while what I've been talking about is, how consumer behavior is changing, it's only one aspect of the change. I'm just talking about the channel change. I'm just talking about the fact that they were going to move from going to a store versus ordering online. There are lots of other changes that are happening. Excuse me. Look at their buying behavior. What are they buying? People are going and shifting their buying practices from, say, things that are more luxurious in nature to things that they feel that are more necessities. Because while people want to continue consumption, they're also looking at how, is their purchasing power the same as it was pre-COVID? A lot of people have lost their jobs. People are scared about their jobs. They are maybe sticking more to essentials. We have to look at opportunities that present in essential products. So, for example, if you are a producer of a product like detergents and sanitizers and cleaning products, this is your opportunity. Now, how you translate that opportunity is up to you. You can either take this as an opportunity and say, you know what, I'm going to maximize my profit. This is the time when I squeeze my consumer. This is the time when I jack up my prices. Or this is the time where I get new customers and create stickiness with my consumer, where I do not try and gouge every customer that I get, but at the other end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a customer for life. Because a lot of people who were not using sanitizers, soaps and cleaning equipment, a lot of these things have graduated to that, because now that's part of health and hygiene. That's very important for their families. This is an opportunity where if you are, while you are doing more sales, while you create an opportunity for the consumer as well, while you provide them promotional discounts or whatever you need to create that stickiness, that's going to serve you on a year-over-year basis way after this pandemic is done and over with. That's something we need to keep in mind. Then we need to look at how we are managing our own value chains. Now, some of these things that I've been talking about, in terms of, moving to online platforms and this, that, and the other, people might say, oh, you know what, what's going to happen to us? What's going to happen to the sales force? What's going to happen to, our distributors? Two things. Number one, we have to understand we are all facing a collective challenge. This pandemic is not impacting one facet of the economy or one part of your value chain. It's impacting everybody. So please, smart businesses will look at creating value also for its partners. It will look at if it's changing platforms, if it's changing, other ways of, doing the business or the entire business model. They should try and keep their, partners like distributors, like, sales team alongside with them and retool them and giving them different opportunities, because they understand the core business that we've traditionally been in. Secondly, another thing that we need to do, which is very important through engagement of the sales team, is we need to make the transition of the consumer from, let's say, a brick and mortar platform comfort level to an online platform comfort level seamless. What do I mean by that? Now, obviously, if you watch YouTube or if you watch, if you're on Facebook or whatnot, you see a lot of ads coming up. Where, normal products that you would not necessarily think of would be advertising have started advertising, like pedestal fans, for example. I'll just give you one example. And people have started maybe ordering. They say, you know what, if that avoids me making one trip out in the market, I'll go and buy it. Why not? The problem is, the challenge for us is, how do you go from that being a one-time purchase to that being the norm? The way to do that is you have to make that experience for the consumer as seamless as possible. So he or she feels that he's had the minimal amount of change. What do I mean by that? I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm on Facebook and I'm scrolling down and I see a pedestal fan. I'm like, you know what? It's pretty hot out there. I want to order one. I click on that and I order a fan. Within 30 minutes or whatever period of time, shortly thereafter, I should get a call from the company telling me, Mr. Mazhar, you've placed an order for the fan. I see that there were 3 options that were available to you. You've chosen this color or this size or whatever, this model. Great. Just want to confirm it. Just want to make sure you didn't change your mind. That's what you want. And you know what? Actually, my name is XYZ. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer you. And your product will be delivered in 3 days or 4 days or whatever number of days it takes. Think about what that does to the consumer. Suddenly think about what it does for the consumer in terms of the brand value in his mind. Suddenly he's now talking to a person and not talking to a machine. That's the seamless transition you're talking about. Now, ideally, as I said, it's not going to be 100% move to e-commerce platforms. It will take a long time. And some things will be always high involvement and people want to go out and buy. But we want to take the opportunity to get more and more people to go out and start online shopping, and we want to make that transition seamless. And why make it seamless? Because more likely than not, I probably would not have bought a fan that day if I was not on my Facebook, because I probably would not have taken my car out and gone out to the market and I would have haggled with the price and then done everything because I'm too busy. That's what we're looking at. Another reason why people will be open to this is we also have to understand consumers are playing multiple roles. You've got parents who are also acting like teachers, right? Who have their own day jobs, but if with online schools that have come up now, they also have to be present with their children in the room, especially the young ones, teaching them, interacting with the teachers on and on. So time is tight for them, and they're going to continue to look for more and more convenience. Now, the thing is, it's up to us whether we see this as a challenge or we see this as an opportunity. Last thing that I would want to say is we need to also look ourselves internally and say, does this give us an opportunity to reinvent ourselves? So, for example, my company, we were implementing a CRM, a very well-known tool that we've been implementing, and we're going through that process. And we took this opportunity, and we were about to go live in September, October timeframe. And we took this opportunity and said, you know what, we want to jumpstart this and get this online in May when we went to lockdown. Obviously, everybody had to work very hard, but that gave us an opportunity to reinvent ourselves. That actually, the end outcome was our customers, we're in B2B business, our customers were ordering online. They were ordering, they were ordering through their smartphones, a B2B industrial product, and they were very comfortable. And we were spending more time talking to them about their business, their challenges, getting customer intelligence, and talking about the future of what they need to do with the business. So think about that. You're still spending the same amount of time with the customer, but you're actually doing more value-added work in that sense. So these were just some of my thoughts. As I said, consumers are very fickle. They have a very, they have very quirky preferences in terms of what they like. But this is an amazing opportunity for companies who see it to really, really reinvent themselves.
Phenomenal, Mazhar. Thank you so much for touching base on all the key points. You talked about consumers. I was making actually notes here while I was listening to you. I thought your keynote would have been just on and on and on. I just would have listened to you. So you talked about consumers are shaking, behavior and attitudes are changing. Change is going to stay. So the new normal, it's not going to go back to the old normal. So this is going to stay. Consumer shift in the mindset, behaviors. It will last for a very long time. You've used great examples. Using a footwear, people are now from formal wear to they're now buying casual wear more and more of. And one of the key points that you talked about was creating value for your partners is going to be a very important point that I thought my personal takeaway was there. Distributor sales, you need to retool them, especially your sales team, engage in the sales. I mean, the points go on and on and on. It was quite an information. So thank you very much, Mazhar.